I got some familiar faces coming on. Way to go, playing full on.
Good afternoon.
Sandra, thanks for being there.
It's a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
You raring to go today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you because I got a listing and it was based on like the training we did with Sandra a couple of weeks ago. If you may remember, she was trying to hire an agent that she had a relationship with. So it's a very similar situation. And thank God, you know, I had a chance to practice those muscles and help me a lot.
Well, good. Maybe we could role play it and get it into a role play today for folks. And you can be the seller, and let's see if somebody can handle it like you did.
Cool. Cool. Sounds cool.
Hey, Paul, you got on. Good to see you, man.
Hello, Denny. How are you, sir?
I'm good. We'll find out. Ask me Sunday afternoon. The Bucks play in Germany and like 9:30 in the morning. So ask me then, right, Paul?
Well, your flight made it home safe. Unfortunately, the East Coast didn't fare so well.
No. Is it coming up your way now?
You know, we've been the recipients of some unusually wonderful weather. It was 74 and sunny here yesterday in Michigan, and now it's going to snow on Saturday. So,
Wow. I was going to ask. I haven't checked my phone yet when I come up this next week. So you guys, I'll remind you, if you are coming in and you notice your name is Sherry, that's just what the default is. You can go in there on your name and change your name. And John is in Colorado. He won't be with me, so I'm flying alone, no co-pilot. So I will do my best to make sure that I watch the chat and cover things without John. So I may even have somebody be a co-host with me. So Patty, welcome. You might want to put your location in because every now and then somebody might send you a referral. I see some of my bold class here, which is awesome. Paul is in my bold class outside of Detroit. And I think you go by Brighton, right? You're in Brighton? You're muted. Yep. And so I'm learning some tips and tricks, you guys, of Zoom. I was walking today. This is all free stuff. It's 1 o'clock. We'll start here in a second. If you want to maintain your mute, and then when you go to speak, just press the space bar. It takes you off mute. And then when you're done talking, just take your finger off space bar. And that's a lot easier sometimes looking for the little thing with your mouse. So I let these people in. So welcome everyone, Denny Grimes. We're going to have another session here of the mastery of having question-based listening enhanced conversations. And we've got quite a following. I appreciate the regulars that are on. And as always, if you want to participate as an agent, just put your hand up. And I don't like to call on people that don't want to be called on. There's a couple ways you can participate. Number one, you can raise your hand, which means you will step into the agent role. We've got a number of different objections we want to handle today. And then the second way you can participate is we will need a buyer or seller, which is an easy part. You don't even have to rehearse for that. You've heard it. And maybe you've been one before, so you'll just role play the consumer, and there's no right or wrong, there's no memorization at all. And if you want, to just watch and observe, that's fine too. We're not going to force anyone to get up. I liken this as some of you guys are new at this, and so you may not feel comfortable. I get it. The people that step up, maybe had to get up enough nerve the first time. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, if this was a Zumba class, there's no way I'm dancing in front of you guys. If that's the way you feel, I get it. However, the best way to grow is to do it. So just raise your digital hand and we'll get around to you. So I'll have kind of a group of people to call on. And I had something happen today. I don't know. So T, if you get on, She is a member of my team. She brought up something today at the huddle, so I'll wait for her to get on. And just as a reminder, this is mastery level role play. This will be posted to the YouTube channel. And we always practice. There's more than one way to skin a cat. They probably don't say that anymore, Paul. That's just a generational thing for me. There's more than one way to handle an objection. What we like to do here, and what I teach is question-based. Everything's a question. Listening enhanced. I believe if we listen to the words they say, and even write down, I always have my notes here on when you guys are role playing, or if I'm role playing, I'm always taking notes, writing down the exact words they say. So it's question-based, listening enhanced conversations. Don't have to worry about memorizing scripts. So I'll let people in as we go. And if you haven't been to my website yet, or I should say YouTube channel, we are growing. We're over 500. It's Denny Grimes, the Mastery of Real Estate. And if you have your phone, if you want to just take a picture of that, that's the QR code. I'm so proud I have my own QR code, and I didn't know they were really free. However, I have one. I generally like to start with the thought of the day. If you've got some things that you want to talk about, you can put in the chat. I will eventually get to that. And if you're new logging on, make sure you change your name. If you're not going to be Sherry, everyone here is a Sherry. So here is my thought of the day. I had something come across my text message from my wife's organization, and somebody in the Krista Cole network said, what's one of the most, I think the word she used, frustrating or obnoxious. That was the word she used, the most obnoxious headline you've seen in a while. And so I just did a quick little look on YouTube. I love YouTube. I spent a lot of time on YouTube. You can learn anything you want on YouTube. And I ran across this one. So if you can see it behind me, you might want to pin me, because I generally will show you some slides behind me. How about this? This came out, this is a month, this is actually 2 months ago. Oh no, this is 1 month ago. Don't buy a house now. They're predicting a 48% crash in the real estate market. Now, let me just tell you, the media out there, there's always going to be the national inquirers of every subject. And YouTube is a classic example of not everything on YouTube, but a lot of people are just basically going for clicks. So they have the most sensational headline possible. It may not have anything to do. In fact, obviously it can't be right, because not every market acts the same way. The reason I want to bring this up, and the reason I'm a fan of you guys kind of watching the headlines and putting Google alerts out there for the Gary Kellers, the Zillows, the Homes.com, and all of those opinion leaders of real estate, is that it does create a news cycle. And there's something we talk about in BOLD, which is a Keller Williams class. It's confirmation bias. And so if you're working with a buyer or a seller, and it's just human nature, we're going to gravitate to articles and news stories that confirm what we think, what we hope, what we fear may happen. So I don't want you to be sideswiped by some of the sensational messages out there. I'm sure Jimmy Hoffa and Alvis are out there looking at foreclosures. That'll be a headline probably. Just remember, those things are kind of the National Enquirer, or something you might pick up at the supermarket. And I don't really believe in half the stuff that's out there. Just be aware that your customers might. I am seeing a lot of, I'm watching our data. We're seeing our sales continue to slide a little bit. Median sales price on a monthly basis is starting to slide. Buyers are licking their chops, thinking basically we're about to go to buy one, get one free. So that's my thought of the day. You can add your comments if you want, and I'm ready to go into role play. So I only have Tanner raising his hand. Who here basically wants to participate as an agent and go through a time role play? We have about 4 minutes. We go through the role play, then we debrief, and then I'll give you my opinion on basically some things that I might have done differently. So Tanner's raised his hand. Who else wants to play? Who else wants to grow? Just raise your digital hand. All right, we got Sherry. I don't know. You haven't changed your name yet. Palm Beach, St. Louis. Your name's not popping up, but just raise your digital hand, because it'll put you at the top of my screen. Just go down to the bottom, and there's a way you can raise your hand, and we'll do that. Tanner was the first one on. He's been waiting for me to log in since about 8:30 this morning Eastern time, and he's anxious to get cracking. So the way we do this, I'm going to have someone. I'll let Tanner. He's doing a role play. I've got about 15 or I think there's 18 cards there with some objections. Some you might have heard before. Some you have not heard before. And I want you to pick a number, Tanner, between 1 and 15.
Thank you, Danny. I pick 11.
All right, this ties in with that right there. So I need a person that does not have their hand up, that does not want to play as an agent, just to be a buyer, and you just play whatever role you feel you want to play, and maybe you have some pent up frustration. So now's your chance to get even with Tanner, the agent. So who wants to be the buyer? I'm not looking at everyone, just someone to speak up, and I'll let you be the buyer. Thanks, Paul, for speaking up. You ready? Paul Kobe, you ready? You have to unmute yourself.
I have a pretty bad connection here, so I will try, but if I'm breaking up too much, go ahead and
Do me a favor, Paul, just turn your video down. We don't need your video. And that'll give you a little more bandwidth. Okay, if it doesn't work, we'll go to somebody else. So somebody else listen. In fact, let me just do this. Whatever. Patty, just be ready to pop in, okay, in case we lose Paul. All right, so here's the objection, Paul. Ready, Tanner?
Yes.
Hey, listen, I've been reading all this stuff in the internet, and I think the market's in for a rough ride ahead. So what I want to do is I'm looking for a great buy. I want to steal. Okay, I'm willing to buy a house, but I want to steal. That is the objection, Paul, you're going to role play with, okay?
okay.
And I'll get my timer. Ready? Go.
All right, Paul, I understand, sharing that with me now. Other than, that information that basically that gives you that understanding, is there any other reason why you wouldn't want to make a move right now or own your home?
So I'm just going to stop. Hang on, Paul, 1 second. This doesn't count against your time. I went ahead and I put up the model we follow, and he did exactly the right thing. He said, I understand there's the acknowledgement. Now he's going for the isolation. Other than that, you've got to make sure you get to the heart of the matter, as Don Henley would say. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul. You may answer.
Yeah. I'm looking to upsize a little bit. I'd like to get a little bigger home. I have 3 bedrooms right now. I'd like to have 4. I'd like something with some entertaining space as well. And so that's what I'm looking for. But I want to make sure, I think there's going to be a lot of great buys out there, and I want to make sure I take advantage of that.
Okay. So when you say you think there's going to be more buyers right now, so you're saying there's going to be more buyers right now out there? Is that
No, I think there's going to be some great buys, some great opportunities to purchase homes, below or at a lower price than there have been. Okay,
I understand. And other than that, looking for that great price, anything else stopping you? Any other reason?
No, I mean, if I can't get a steal, or I'll stay where I'm at.
Cool. I appreciate that. And when we say steal, what could you define that? Like, what does steal look like for you? Like, do you have a price in mind, or what would the steal look like?
Something that where I'm walking into instant equity. Something that when the market comes back in the next year or two, that I'm going to be able to. I'll be sitting on some equity, 20 to 30% equity.
So okay, I kind of understand. All right. And Paul, currently, can I ask you, are you currently renting or owning right now? What's the situation?
I own a home right now. It's but I it's in a subdivision. It's it's an 1,800 square foot home. It's got 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and I'm looking to just take advantage of where the market's going and you know, and upsize a little bit and really, you know, I just think there's going to be some good deals out there. Once we find that house, then I'll worry about selling this house.
1 minute.
Okay, and the reason to that basically, so you're looking to still sell your home and purchase a new one. Is that what it is?
I'm not sure what I want to do with my current home. I might hold on to that as an investment property and rent it out. I think I can get some pretty good rent on the house that I'm in right now, but that would be after I find my new home.
Okay, okay. So let me ask you this, Paul. What happens if the scenario doesn't play the way you're looking at it? You know, if the home prices don't drop in the next, you know, 2, 3 years, 4 years, so will you be willing to just stay where you are?
Yeah, I believe I would. I believe I would. If I can't get something that's, you know, I just don't want to overpay. I think a lot of people in the recent months have been just overpaying for homes and for property, and I don't want to do that.
Okay. Then I'm going to close that. What if I can find you something right now that would be in the budget that you're willing to spend, and you know it has all the amenities that you're looking for? Are you willing to at least spend some 15, 20 minutes to look at it? We can go over it.
Yes, yes, I would.
All right, time's up. All right, so awesome. So let's do the debrief is very simple. Tanner, how do you think it did? What'd you do well? And if you had to do it again, what would you do differently?
You know, I got a little confused. I was hoping him to say, you know, he's renting. It would make it a little different, but I tried to clarify exactly what's the reason he's making this move, find out what the urgency is, and I did my, you know, in my own, I tried the best, I would say.
Okay, any feedback from the group? By the way, when we have time, Tanner was on a little bit early. I was joking with him. It wasn't quite 8:30 this morning. However, you know, Tanner, you did share that the role play helped you prepare for a listing appointment that you went on that you were able to land successfully, correct?
Yes, 100%.
Yes, and so we might role play that here in a little bit. And he's always the first one to raise his hand. So congratulations, you know, you're getting rewarded. You have a touchdown pass because you've been practicing that. Does anybody else have a comment on that role play? What we want to do is I'd like to do it again. And I do want to point out a couple of things he did masterfully well. And and you could probably sense when he lost his roadmap. He did follow the model, acknowledged the isolated. Now, again, when Paul, and when you play the buyer or seller, you are the buyer or seller. Paul did not answer the question. He did isolate it the first time, and Paul went into his motivation. Now, again, that's okay. Paul doesn't have any rules. Buyers and sellers aren't following the same model. So what he did well is he went back and asked the isolating question again. The other thing that I want to point out that you should be doing, and he did it at the right time, you need to do this sooner versus later. If you are talking with a buyer, I want you to, if you're thinking about getting some artwork, a tattoo, this is what I want you to tattoo on your forehand, on your hand. The first question, or one of the first questions, is not are you pre-approved. One of the first questions you ask a buyer is, do you own or are you renting? Because it's a completely different conversation. And sometimes the easier one is the renter, right? Because they're guaranteed to lose. However, when you say that he's owning, I want you to think in this. I want you, and let's see, who is, I said, I don't know who that is. It's at Palm Beach. Who is that?
Louise Weiss.
Oh, Louise, you got your name at the end. Okay, Louise, you want to do this one next, okay? You want to take the same one, do it next?
I'm ready to grow.
Okay, now, so everything we don't have to repeat anything. We don't have to go back to the beginning and just say, okay, he's if you were listening, you know, I want a great buy, I want a great steal. He already owns a home, whatever. So from that point, from taking over where Tanner was, carry on the conversation, and you have 4 minutes. Go.
Okay, Paul. So if we found something for you, that would be worth your time to come and meet with us for 20 minutes, right?
You guys are already at a table. You're
Okay.
already at the table, all right? So you're not closing for the appointment. Keep going. You're good.
Okay, okay. All right, I actually am just kind of lost. Let me observe and then join in later.
Anybody, who else is it? It's almost say Mandalay, but I can't. How do you pronounce that?
Maidelis.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Maidelis, like Fleur de Lis, Maidelis.
All right, mightily. All right, so you want to take over? I'll get you there.
Sure. Can you just like what do I know so far about him?
Well, were you listening to the other role play?
No.
Okay.
No.
Tell you what, then his objection is he wants an unrealistic price on. He wants to buy, but he wants to get something super duper good deal. He already owns a home, and he doesn't want to buy and lose equity. So take it from that point.
Okay. So what's the motivation? Hold on, let me think.
That's right. You can just say, Paul, quickly just state your motivation. Why you're selling.
So I'm not selling, I'm buying. And
Okay.
I am looking to upsize a little bit. I'd like a little more land. I'd like a little bigger house, but I want to make sure that I get a really good deal. I'm looking to take advantage of,
Got it. Got it. We got it.
So Paul, let me ask you this. What's a good deal to you? What does that mean?
Good question. So I'll tell you that I've seen a lot of houses around my area that have recently sold, and everything's going, all summer long. I saw houses selling for $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 over list price, and these are houses like in the $400,000 range. I don't know where everybody lives. That might not seem like a lot to you guys, but around here, a $400,000 house is a pretty nice house. And I just don't want to pay over value. I don't want to be in this. I don't want to put a bunch of cash down. I don't want to have to give a appraisal guarantee or anything like that. Really like to
I
get something.
understand.
Yeah, we got to
Okay.
keep the buyer part a little shorter, Paul. So we got
Yeah.
to let her run with it.
So Paul, let me see if I got this straight. So you currently own, but you want to purchase and you want it to be a good deal so that you can upgrade. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So say we do find you that house. What are your plans for your current property?
Okay. Well, I think what I'd like to look into doing is keeping that as an investment property and renting it out.
Okay, great. And how soon would you want to move in?
I guess it all depends on the market.
In an ideal world, when would you want to move into this house?
Within the next 6 months.
Okay. Clarify, right, Danny?
Say it again.
I need to clarify.
Well, you do. I mean, yes, you are. There is actually a middle step there between these two. You have to get clarity. That's where Tanner kind of got sideways. He wasn't really clear on the situation. So what question do you have in your mind? Because if you are the agent and you have a question in your mind, that means you lack clarity. So drill down on what's in your mind.
Well, Paul, according to what you're saying with your definition of a good deal, you want it to make sense financially, obviously.
Hang on.
But typically,
hang on a second. Did he say that? Did he say that?
no, he didn't really say that. That was just kind of my.
So that's the
understanding.
important of be careful the words you use. Make sure you're using as close as you can to what he said. He did not say that. He didn't say make financial sense. He didn't want to overpay.
Okay.
So let me help you out. Let me help you out.
Please.
All right. So let me just take a minute or so. All right, Paul, let me ask you. So define overpaying for me, please.
Well, I don't want to pay, I don't want to pay more than appraisal. appraised value. I'd like to I'd like to pick it up for, under appraised value. But that's, and I know that if it doesn't appraise, I don't have to go forward, but I really don't want to waste my time. I'm looking for something that's a good deal that I know is going to come in below appraised value.
Okay, so if it came in $1 under appraised value, is that a good deal?
I'd have to think about that.
Okay, and so
Like for me, Danny, I'm just thinking, okay, you look for a good deal when you're looking for an investment property, but not for your home that you're trying to
well, all right,
upgrade, right? So how do I
hang on a
put
minute.
that in a question?
Well, that's a tape you're playing. How many people out there want to move into a home and still want a good deal?
Okay, yes.
So don't assume that to be the case. So now let me see if I can't bring him a little bit, obviously he's not super motivated if the right deal comes along. So let's see if I can land the plane. We'll go on to something else. This is exactly how to handle it. Well, Paul, how will we recognize it if it's out there?
That's why I'm calling different agents to use their expertise to help me find it.
So you're asking other agents to help you find a undervalued property that would give you instant equity. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
And how many agents have you talked to?
3.
Do you know how agents work?
I believe I do.
Okay. So obviously you have not hired any of the agents to find you the good deal, correct?
No, but I let them know if a good deal comes along, they can give me a call.
Well, let me ask you, do you want a good deal or do you want a great deal?
I want a great deal.
Well, if a great deal comes along and one of these agents, for example, I mean, unless you have signed an agreement with me that we're going to have a loyalty agreement, a buyer agency agreement, unless you do that, I'm obligated to let my clients know about it first. So you'll never get the great deals, or maybe even the good deals.
So
Because
what
I'm going to give them to my client, or maybe I'll buy it. So my question is, are you willing to sign a buyer's agency agreement with me so we can establish the criteria you're looking for? So if it does come up, I have to call you first.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So what I've done there is, obviously we're probably a little bored with the conversation, is that, okay, so that's how I would introduce a loyalty agreement. Because if these people think, and I just had a meeting this past week with somebody who's got a portfolio of properties of $40 million. They're all right here and they're right in prime location. And I had the same type of conversation as they wanted to give to half a dozen of the most reputable brokers. They didn't want to give anybody an exclusive listing. They were just going to give it out to the brokers out there. If you bring me a deal, I'll pay you a commission. So I had the same type of conversation with them as far as, okay, well, who's really going to be working to sell your property? I don't care if it's $40 million. And was able to secure on the house that's almost finished, an exclusive listing, which is going to be about $5 million, right? And just had the same conversation. Now, what I'd like to do is, just is going to be a seller listing. This is the objection. Now we'll leave the actual percentage of the commission out because that's always a touchy segment. So this is a $5 million property, let's say. And this is what they said: we want to pay X number of percent, and I want you to have X minus percent if you sell it. So let's go, Fatima, or no, Dale, you're next in line. Are you ready? You're muted.
I'm hoping that his headset works.
Well, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't have my normal headset. I had to kind of grab something that was close here, and it's only got one ear working. So I was hoping that the voice part of it would work.
It's looking good. You're looking good. You're ready for the role play.
Yes, sir. So
Here's
this
the
is a
listing.
$5 million listing, and he wants to basically do it as a FISBO, but offer a
Nope.
commission if I bring a buyer.
No,
Okay, I'm
$5
sorry.
million listing. I'm going to give you the listing, but however, I want you, it's going to be X%.
Okay,
And let me just give you the numbers. Let me give you numbers and realizing the commission can be anything.
okay.
I want you to, I'm willing to pay you 2 and I'm willing to give the co-broke 2.5%. So is that okay with you?
So 4.5% total, 2 on the listing side, 2.5 on the buying side.
That's right.
Okay. And what's your thought but you already said that you're going to actually have us list your property. So now
Yeah,
all we have to work
right.
out is the commission aspect of it.
That's correct.
Okay. So other than this little aspect, we're ready to sign some paperwork today. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, there's one more thing though. If you sell it, I want you to discount your commission to 2%.
Okay. So everything that we're talking about, I understand where you're coming from. And I
Yes,
know
well,
that
just-
we're talking about a large property here, but everything we're talking about is commission related. So if we iron this out, then we'll be ready to move forward and we can sign paperwork today. Is that correct?
Oh, that's a nice way of isolating it, a little different way. Yeah. Other than that, no, if we can work it out, that's the trial close. Yes, that's what I want. I want
Okay.
you to agree to discount your commission. If I want you to discount your commission, I said 2%. It's going to be 3% if you sell it yourself.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm clear. You're offering a 4.5% total commission if we list it and a different agent represents the buyer, and you're offering a 3% if we bring you the buyer as well as on the listing side. So 3% total. Am I correct?
1.5, 1.5.
1.5 and 1.5.
If you don't
Okay.
like it.
All right. Well, let me ask you a question, Denny. Why is that important to you?
Well, you're getting all your commissions at the same time. And besides, I've done that before with agents and they're willing to do it because they're getting both sides of the transaction. So that's what I'm looking for in my next listing agent.
I understand. Do you believe that there's actually less work involved if we have both sides of the transaction? Or do you think there's actually more work involved?
I would think there'd be less and you'd have a bigger check.
Okay. What if I were to tell you that I actually don't work with buyers? We have a team and I have members of my team that actually are buyer specialists. That way we have a nice separation where I'll be more focused on your side of the transaction and my buyer specialist will be more focused on the buyer side of the transaction. Would that make a difference?
Well, I mean, I understand that you may have other people involved. However, you're getting a one pile of money into your team, which probably gives you more money if you or somebody on your team sells my home. Is that right?
The total team intake, but the way that we would split it up would obviously end up being less because of the way that we do splits and things like that with our buyer specialists and with Keller Williams. This is where this is where I pull out the coins. Say, let me explain how commission works. Spread the coins out on the table.
The coins.
Yes, this is off script.
No,
Where I pull out the coins.
No. We do role play.
Well, what I'm saying is this is where I would actually put coins out onto a table and say, Denny, let me explain how commission works.
Okay.
And I separate the coins.
Okay. So you're saying no, right?
No, I'm not saying no. I just need to understand why that's so important to you. If you feel that we're the best fit, doesn't it make sense that we're going to get you the most amount of money?
Well, that's what I'm attempting to do here. And if you sell it, you're going to win. I'm going to win. That's the conversation we're having. One more minute. I'm not being easy on you for a reason.
It's good. It's all good. Well, Denny, let me ask you a question. Are you the type of person that likes to make money, or you're the type of person that likes to save money?
All right. Now you're using some Dennyisms. But tell me more.
Well, obviously, we are the best fit for you. You've already recognized that. You already see what we do to sell properties. So obviously, I'll be able to make you more money off of that property, regardless of how much money you put into my pocket. I'll end up putting more money into your pocket. Doesn't that make sense based on what you've seen?
Because of time's sake, I'll say, okay, I'll call time. So what I want to do is, okay, so what I like about what he was doing, he was going to fight for his fee.
Mm-hmm.
And there's more than one way to do it. And the coin thing, I don't know That's an old metaphor. And there's also the one where you have a piece of paper and you kind of rip it up, and it is a showing them where all the fee goes. So.
Well,
I'll
I
give
am
you
old.
props. I'll give you props for that, Dale. That was nice. You must, how long have you been in real estate?
18 years.
Yeah, good. Yeah, back when they really made silver quarters, probably, right?
So,
So, nice job, nice job. Okay, next up, we've got Patty. Looks like you're up, and then we had also Fatima. So Patty, we haven't had your role play yet, right?
This is my first time watching. I just want to observe or be the other.
Are you in real estate right now, darling? 2 months. So let me get off mute. Come on, we're going to help you. There's other people here. I will help you.
Fair enough.
Okay. Now, where are you practicing real estate?
Naples, Florida.
Okay. Well, then you're my competition. So then I'll make sure I get you trained really well. So you would hope to get you. I mean, you do take listings, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, are you on a team?
I'm on BK team with Bill Archer.
Got it. Okay. So pick a number between 1 and 10.
7.
All right. You may run into this. You're having a meeting, you're at the table. You're meeting with a seller and somebody referred them to you, so you don't know them. And I'll be the seller. I'm thinking about selling it myself. Why should I hire you?
Okay.
Now, keep in mind, guys, 2 months, and we all started here once. Okay, this would be like a Zumba class, a Zumba lesson for me on my first day. So let's just see, and then we'll let somebody, we'll let somebody else do it and see. We'll just take a couple minutes. So here's the model, though. Just follow the model. I'm thinking about selling it myself. Then what's the acknowledgement?
So I understand that you plan to put this home up for sale on your own.
Yes, and all you have to say is, "I understand."
Okay.
Now we're going to isolate. Isolate question. Go ahead.
Isolating why you want to put it up for sale on your own.
Well,
Is that
I would
correct?
say the isolation would be, other than that, is there any other reason why you wouldn't hire an agent like me to represent you? No, it has to do with I'm going to save the commission.
Okay. Do you know what a professional real estate agent can offer to you?
Yeah, I've sold houses before. I've sold some by myself, and right now the market seemed to be pretty hot where, it'd probably sell pretty fast anyway. So why would I want to waste $40,000?
I knew you'd pick on me. Okay, let me think about that one. I would not say that.
All right, hang on. All right, Mark Benson. Mark Benson. Are you up and running now, Mark Benson?
He's not on the participant list, Denny.
Okay. He just logged on. He generally types it. I don't know if he can talk right now. He's in the Naples office too, very experienced. So is that something you feel confident doing, Louise?
Are you talking to me or
sure.
her?
I'm going to Louise now. Just sit tight and just observe now, okay?
Repeat your last objection, please.
I'm going to sell it myself. I'm going to save the commission.
Okay, I understand. And other than that, is there any other reason you wouldn't hire a professional real estate agent like myself?
Nope.
Okay. And Denny, if I could show you how it's possible to make more money using a professional like myself versus selling it on your own, would that be something you're interested in learning more about?
Interesting question. Well, you've got me curious.
That's exactly why we should meet. Are you available at 2 or is 4 o'clock better?
We're always when we do these objections, we're always at the table.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. So Denny, the National Association of Realtors track statistics for us. Are you aware of what those statistics are for sale by owners?
Not a clue.
Okay. Would you be surprised to know that a for sale by owner makes on average 12% less than an agent who sells a home, than a seller who hires a professional like me to sell a home?
So where are you getting your, that sounds intriguing. Where are you getting your stats?
The National Association of Realtors.
I understand you can say that. Can you point to chapter and verse that that's true?
Yes.
How?
Here's an independent study.
Do you have that? Do you have that in black and white?
I can absolutely have that in black and white. Yes.
What I'm suggesting is sometimes, you know, if you have that, when you want to quote something and you're quoting numbers, because many times that we've been quoting the same numbers since 1980. Like, you know, I mean, every seller wants to sell it the quickest for the least hassles and the most money. That's not always true. So if you actually have that data and you have it with you in your presentation, then use it and then pull that out and show them, because that's third-party validation. My point is, if you don't have that information and you cannot produce it, most likely you've heard something from someone else that heard something from someone else, and it's no longer true. So so you're going down an excellent road. All right. So and if you then, okay, so I'm going to make 12% less. So go ahead. I'll give you another minute to land the plane, because if let's just say you can document it.
Yes. And Denny, the stats for our team as presented here show that we make on average 7% more than the average of all agents in the MLS. Would it be okay with you if you made more money for the sale of your home than all of the other average agents, and then for sell by owners?
All right. So intriguing question. So I'm going to poke her again. How do you demonstrate that you sell your property, your listings for 7% more?
This spreadsheet shows all of our listings and our average sales price to list price ratio. And in the next column, we have the average sales price to list price ratio from the multiple listing service in this area.
So I get that. So there's another thing I like that you should do. And where are you actually? You're in
Palm Beach County. I'm east of you.
Yeah. How are you doing based on the storm? Did it bother you?
We are blessed. We were very fortunate. Much rain, some landscape debris, but we are very, very blessed.
Good. So she's now this is another great point. She's polished. She has her team stats, which she should have. Again, if you're going to quote stats, make sure you can show them, because as you say that, it's triple more powerful if you can point to it. Now, let me just step out of role just for a second. I'm somewhat, my wife calls me a black hat, or other words are contrarians, because I'm kind of a, what do you call it? I geek out. I geek out on some of this stuff, not really the numbers. So Dave's list to sales price ratio. Feel free to have a discussion, come off mute and tell me what you think. Is that a good, reliable statistic or not? Because I hear a lot of people use it. Hey, look, the average on the market is 94 or 98%, and we're 103% or something. So it suggests that you get more for your houses than the other agent. So what are your thoughts on that?
So to be the contrarian, and I've been on the receiving end of this many years ago, a seller said, well, that just tells me that you underpriced the listing.
Bingo. Bingo. That's why, and again, if you want to use that in your repertoire, don't be shocked if somebody says that to you, because that's absolutely true.
And then I would respond with something along the lines of, I can understand why you would say that, Denny. And when we look at the appraised values for these homes, we were able to receive more than appraised value we were able to get a purchase price above the appraised value for the seller, which tells us we did not underprice the home. We created an auction effect to get the best result for our seller. Isn't that what you would want?
All right, so she's got something that she can back up. Now we'll go into something else here in a second, so I can see some hands that are up. Just from, because I like to be valid, and I make sure I dot my I's, cross my T's. Thinking about it pragmatically, how often can you have access to the appraisals, and what do we really think about the appraisals? There is another way to go down that road without as many landmines. I'm not saying I'm sure she can close somebody at the table because she's confident and she knows her numbers very smooth. However, there's another way to go down and to have a conversation with a seller thinking they're selling it themselves. Let me give you kind of a couple of different things you can mention. In fact, you're so fun to play with. I'm just going to go back to you, Louise, right?
Yes. Are you
You're
thinking
the-
fallout? Are you thinking fallout?
I was thinking Zillow. Is that what you said?
Fallout. I was thinking fallout, how 2/3 of the contracts.
No. Here's where I'd go really fast. This will just be a minute. One of the best ways you can go down with a for sale by owner, and I'm going to follow what she did. I'm going to quote the National Association stats. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm breaking my own rules. However, this is my show. I can do that. So let me ask you. So Louise, you're attempting to sell this yourself, right? To save the commission, right?
Absolutely.
And how much of the commission are you attempting to save?
If you bring a buyer, I'll give you 2%.
Okay. So then if you're going to give me 2%, what do you compare that to if you had somebody that was representing you? 4%, 5%, 6%?
If I were going to list it with an agent, I would pay 5%.
So when you're talking money with a buyer, when you're talking interest rates with a buyer, make sure you bring it down into dollars, because anything else is kind of like smoke. It doesn't. So if you're going to have a commission objection, talk about dollars. Or in this case, it could be a percentage, because no, so you're attempting to save, you're willing to pay me 2%, correct?
Yes.
And you said you would be paying 5% if you were listed. Is that what you said?
Yes.
So you're tempted to say 3%.
Correct.
Now, what happens right off the bat, now she volunteered it. If she did not volunteer that she was going to pay me as the buyer's agent, I would have said, well, let me ask you, if I were to bring you a buyer that was a contract that was acceptable to you, would you consider compensating my broker? You've got to get that, because what we want to do is we want to chip away at the amount of money they're attempting to save. And she's going to answer, yes, I'll pay you 2%. So that 5% big chunk of money just shrank by 2%. And really, that's kind of interesting. It would be 5%. Normally, it would be 2.5. And I could take her down the road that, well, other sellers are paying me 2.5. Would you consider paying me 2.5? She might say, okay, I'll pay a 2.5. Now we're talking about 2.5. So I'm going down the road. Now, what I would have had to use, if she said no, I hadn't thought about that. I would say the National Association of Realtors basically has done a study on unassisted sellers. I don't say for sale by owners, unassisted sellers, that they, most of those, in fact, almost 90%, and here's what I don't remember the exact number, but it was really big. 90% of the sellers end up using the assistance of another real estate agent representing the buyer. Would that make sense to you, Louise?
Repeat that again. Let me see if I understand that.
90% of unassisted sellers end up, if they're successful selling their houses, because another agent brought them the buyer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So they didn't have a listing, but they did pay 2.5% fee.
Right.
So in your mind, you already have probably realized that you'd be willing to pay a broker like me 2 or 2.5%, correct?
Mhm.
She volunteered it. However, if she didn't volunteer it, you've got to cut it in half. Now, here's where I'm going to summarize and bullet point how you do with the rest of it. Okay, so let's say now the 5% she's attempted to save is down to 2.5%. So let me ask you something, Louise, on the pricing. We don't have to role play. I'm just going to go really quick. I'm going to ask her how she arrived at the price. Is it possible that a seller in your situation who doesn't do this full time may misprice the home by 0.5% or 1%? Do you think that's feasible? No, she's saying yes. What I'm doing, I'm chipping, just write it down. I'm chipping away. I'm being very conservative. And then when an offer comes in, you're dealing with an agent that basically is working with the buyer. They've been working together now for 3 months. They go out for lunch together every day. What do you think the buyer's number one goal is as far as getting them a home? Are they looking to make you happy or make them happy? They're making the buyer happy. So now is it possible that a seller in your situation that doesn't do this every day may not negotiate the best offer possible, may under negotiate it by half a point or it's only 1%, right? Is it possible? You know, so they're going to get buy-in. So that 2.5% could be down already to 1.5% or maybe only 1%. And oh, by the way, when the inspector comes, do you think sellers sometimes don't really know what they should fix and not fix? They don't not familiar with the contract. Oh no, we're gonna take care of it. They might be giving away money by the volunteering to fix stuff they don't have to fix. That could be hundreds of dollars. And what about, you know, basically now if the appraisal comes in low, what do you think the buyers are going to do? That's another point of negotiation. So what you're doing, oh, by the way, what is your time worth? Oh, by the way, what about the legal liability you're going to have by representing yourself? Does that make sense? You see, I'm chipping away at basically, and this is, if you're playing Candy Crush, just stop for a moment. Understand. If your mindset, I want you to get to the mindset that a great listing agent is free to a seller.
Oh, that's good.
A great listing agent is defined by an agent that can deliver the highest return of the seller's equity in the time they have available, not the most money for the least hassles and all that crap I've been hearing for 20 years. That's bull crap. A great listing agent delivers the highest level of equity in the time the seller has available. If the seller has a year, that's a different strategy than the seller has a month. Now you got to take in consideration market risk, market direction, everything else. So selling a house fast isn't a good thing necessarily to a seller. So is that sinking in? Is that a V8 moment for you guys?
A great listing agent is free to a seller, an agent that can deliver the highest level of equity in the time that is available. Is that correct?
Time that is available for that seller. That is a great listing agent. So I will have conversations with sellers sometimes, like, for example, they want to paint their house. And I'll just say, hey, listen, imagine, you know, you want to paint your house. Can you paint your house? Here's the other thing, you guys. Can a seller sell their home, even in a little bit of a challenging market? Quit fighting them on that. Yes, they can. I can do Zumba too, and to some degree, not one that would be very fashionable. We can all sing. You know, we can be the star karaoke singer at the VFW post. We're not getting paid for that. So yes, they can paint their own house. However, if a painter knocked on your door and said, I tell you what, you've won the contest. I'm a very reputable painter. I'm willing to paint your house for free. Would you let them do it? No catch involved. Sure you would. So I can basically represent you. In fact, oh, I tell you how you'd be better. What if that painter said, you won my super duper lotto, where not only do I paint your house for free, I'm going to paint your house for free and give you $5,000. Would you let him do it? Sure you would.
No.
You wouldn't do it?
No.
Why?
Because you get what you pay for. It might
No,
cost
there's no catch. Don't be a black hat. Come on, you're being contrarian. This is totally on the up and up. So basically, I walk in, I have conversations with sellers, I am free. I will sell my value to them because you know what? We do this every day. Listen, look how beautiful you guys are. I see your pictures. I bet you don't cut your own hair.
truth.
My wife will spend hundreds of dollars. And she goes to the same guy. And if that guy moves, I think she's moving with that guy. Because she likes the way he does her hair, and she pays hundreds of dollars for it when she can go do a cut for probably $49 and buy a box at the grocery store and do her own hair. Why do people hire a professional? Anyway, you guys get any light bulbs going off? Okay, we have hands. Where are the hands? We got another one. We got others. Where are the hands? T, really quick. Thank you for being on. I want to give T props. T told me a story today, and this is amazing. I'm not even sure I could have done it. She has somebody walk in and ask for a rental. You know, we would rather somebody walk in and ask for directions than ask for a rental, because rentals are very hard to come by. And I mean, there's no MLS, there's no money in it. And we still have the need to help people and maybe build a relationship. So T, give us the rundown, give us a couple minute rundown on what they said and where it ended up.
The couple wanted to find a rental for a year. They're moving down from Tampa and they wanted to rent for a year. So they, interest rates come down and housing prices come down because they're gonna, the market's falling. And then they'll buy something later and they have to be out by, November 30th from where they're. They've already have an offer on their home and they're closing on the 30th. So they need to be in place by December 1st. And we spent a whole day together. By the end of it, they were putting in an offer on new construction that closes in May, I think.
And not only that she's on our team. We practice, we role play every day. I mean, she's always on it. She has a day, we call it Thursday, toast with tea on Thursday or something like that. She almost got them to buy 2 homes because they had one inventory home that was ready that they could have moved in right away that would have met a need, yet was too small. And then they had another home, the builder had another home under construction that would be ready later. From a walk-in, I want to rent for a year, to almost buying 2 homes, and they did go under contract with one. And she was willing to spend some time with them and ask them the right questions. That's what this is all about. So
Thank you, Denny.
awesome job.
It's
Well, you
all
got a
because
hand
of
up.
your role play, all because we do this over and over again that, it kicked in.
So anybody I see, does anybody have their hand up? Tanner, do you have your hand up, or is it just from the last time?
It was from the last time, but if there's a chance, I would like to do it again. It's okay.
Does anybody have any request?
Hey, how about we do an expired role play?
Okay, and who's asking?
Luke Vincent.
All right, Luke, awesome. Are you want to be the agent?
No, I actually want to hear somebody else because I've never dealt with expireds before.
Okay, listen, I've been in real estate so long. There was a time in the market back in probably 2006, 7, 8. The agent would expire before the listing did. I mean, it just wouldn't sell. The agent would expire. So anyway, let me ask you this, guys. Anybody on the call that kind of is really groovy on expires?
Expireds or canceled, something along those lines.
Mark, you were on. Mark, you still on? You want to take it? All right.
No,
Tanner, do you do it? Sure. Now, there was a question in the chat about explaining the process. So it's really pretty simple. It's acknowledge, isolate. During the isolation, we get clarity, we address, and we close. So you are, now this one probably, Luke, do you want to take it from the phone call or when you're there? The phone call to get the appointment? Luke, you're muted.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do the phone call to get the appointment.
Okay, there you go, Tanner.
All right.
Ring, ring.
Hi, Luke.
Hey,
Hello?
sorry, I cut out. Yeah, can you hear me?
Taking my call. This is Tanner here. I'm an agent working the neighborhood. The home here, 123 Main Street. Is that still for sale?
No, the listing expired and we haven't relisted it.
Okay, the listing expired. Other than the listing expired, are you looking forward to list it again or sell it again?
I'm going to stop you. Hang on. So, hang on. Just a second. You guys that are doing the role play, just pop off your camera, because when we're on the phone with someone, we can't see. So, all right. So that's taking away body language. Next, Tanner, what I want to point out, if you're doing outbound calls, you've got to have your scripts nailed. Now he's probably not done this in a while. I give him credit for at least giving that the try. He asked 2 questions. That's a no-no. You got to be very succinct. You've got to have it down. It's kind of like your lines. Top Gun Maverick. Man, I love that movie. They had their lines down pat. Okay, ask 1 question, Tanner. Go.
Okay. So are you still looking for buyer? Are you still looking to sell the home?
I'm not really sure. I don't think we're gonna get what we want.
So you're not. You don't think you're gonna get what you want? Okay. And can I ask you what you're looking for exactly?
You know, we had it listed at like 400, and we had like one offer at like 390, and we declined it, and then just it sat, and next thing you know, it's off the market, and seems like the news says everything's come down dramatically since then. So I don't know if I'm going to relist.
Okay. And look, may I ask you what's the reason you're selling? You're looking to stay in the area, move out to town?
We were looking to move out of the neighborhood into a different neighborhood.
So just a timeout. Now he got to the heart of the matter. They wanted to sell for a reason. So whatever your chit chat is, they might be disappointed. No, I don't want to sell. You've got to go back to motivation. Remember, no one just does it for kicks and giggles. And I don't know if I really look that much like Bill Murray, unless he was a younger Bill Murray. I'm not sure I sound like Bill Murray. So anyway, good. Go to motivation. Keep going, Tanner. You got 1 minute.
All right. So what is taking you there? Like, what's the reason you want to move it up?
You know, there's just a lot of crime in our neighborhood, and we're just kind of fed up with just not being able to just go on walks and feel safe and all that. You know, it's just, even if we have to take a downgrade, we were kind of hoping to move to another area to where it's a lot safer.
So I'm going to stop right there. If you've heard that, I mean, that's like the bells and whistles on a slot machine. If someone's want to move their family because of crime or danger or safety, you think they're going to put their house back on the market?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You got to be listening for that. So close for the appointment, Tanner.
All right, look, so it looks like safety matters for you and it's really important. What if we can help you right now in this current market to still, take advantage of it and get it for most money possible and find a home for you in a safer neighborhood where you would kind of feel safer, to walk around with your family? All I need is 15, 20 minutes. And then at the end of the day, you decide what's best for you.
So what, you want to like meet up in person, or what are you saying?
Yes, all I need is like 15, 20 minutes. I could do tomorrow at 4 p.m. or 6 would be better.
Oh, okay. Can we do like Zoom or?
Yeah, well, sure. I don't want to go over there. That's not a safe neighborhood. Ain't no way I'm going over there.
No, I'm only asking because from a seller's perspective, I'm thinking like, well, do you need to see my house? Do you not need to see my house, or what's up?
Well, that's what you would do. So we could do Zoom, but I'd like to see your home. However, what he did was, that was the trial close. That's right here. Hey, listen, would it be worth 15 minutes? Would it be worth 20 minutes? Sit down to see if I can help you get from this neighborhood to a safe neighborhood. Then he just asked, I'm available 3 or 6, whatever. That's the close. Many agents will answer a question and don't have the close. There's 2 things. I'll close with this, then you can share your ahas, other than somebody thinks I look like Bill Murray. I think I look like Thor. Okay, we just don't burst my bubble. Don't laugh, Dale. There's 2 things I want you guys to remember. One is, I had to go down that road. One is, if somebody asks you a question and you answer it, you've got to ask another question, because you've got to maintain control. If you don't ask another question, they're going to be in control. That's number 1. Number 2, at some point in time, you're going to have to ask for the order. And it's good that we did this, because when you call for sale by owners, when you're doing circle prospecting, you're on the phone. And so you've got to get to the appointment. Don't talk yourself through that. We'll do this next time. We'll do it next week. We'll have some outbound calls. We'll practice asking for the appointment more than one time. You've got to get face to face. And I tell you, there's a formula. I might go over it next week with you guys. It's all about appointments. I think that if you had 1 appointment a week, you're making 6 figures in real estate. 1 appointment. And I'm not talking about hair and nails. I'm talking about real estate appointments, okay? So, that was funny, Patty. Come on. So, did anybody have an aha? Don't type it. Come off mute. Throw me some coins. This is coins for us. What did you learn today that was worth your time?
Unassisted seller versus FSBO.
Huh. I saw you
Water
take,
tastes better in a goblet, right?
yeah, I saw you take notes on that. Awesome.
The
Denny, I like
importance
the
of
idea.
script play. Sorry, Brian.
No, go ahead.
I've heard about being on these calls and I see how important it is. So I'm not a deer in headlights. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Denny, just to add, having all your stats and your stuff prepared ahead of time, because that's something I have not mastered yet, obviously. I think that's really helpful, and I would love to see more on the expired calls.
Yeah, we'll do some of that.
Yeah, me
One
too.
more.
Thank you.
I like
Bring it
having
down
the
to
stats,
dollars.
but having them in front of you. You
Say
can't
what
just
again?
rattle something off without having the actual data with you.
I learned when I was selling new homes, I learned that from a national sales trainer, and we had our little book. And I was selling here in this community where I stand right now. And it's when you find something, particularly when you go to the meeting, you talk about what the market's doing, or you run some stats and you point to it, it is like triple more powerful and more impactful versus you saying it, because we've all been taught to kind of distrust what we say or what they hear. So it's important to have that information in your listing kit. Well, you guys are awesome, and I know we missed John. If you have anything you want to help, I can help you with. You have my number. I'll give it to you. 239-851-4600.
Just stop the video. Don't worry.
239-851-4600. And okay, you guys are not muted. So anyway, you guys be careful out there. If I can help you, let me know.
Hey, real
Thank you
quick,
very
before
much,
we end
Nick.
the call, before we end the call, do you guys know of any good resources to like videos to watch on expireds and canceleds? Because I really want to get into that cold calling for that.
Have you Googled that?
YouTube.
I have a couple videos I'm going to watch for sure that already exist.
Go to RedX. RedX is on their YouTube site. They do all kinds of role play, all kinds of calls. And they even, if you sign up for RedX, they even have a call-in where you can role play with one of their, very experienced team members that does exactly kind of what we're doing here, but they're going to, and you tell them what kind of call you want to make, expireds, for sale by owners. So it's a really nice benefit of using the RedX. So it's like free, and it's part of their program, and it's, maybe not as good as someone like Denny, but Denny-like. So in that regards, that they have a free role play. You call in, you say, hey, I want to practice expireds. So it's also a good way, but on their program, they have, tons of expireds for sale by owner training. And as far as that goes, there's another person called from Andy Rojas, the Habit Guys, and he has some new ideas what he's doing in the current marketplace in calling for sale by owners and expireds as well, and some interesting, I'll say, scripts. What I'm using a little bit more starting to now, rather than tired old, I was Keller Williams for 10, 11 years, and there's about 500 Keller Williams agents in our area using the same Keller Williams scripts. So that would be the Habit Guys. They've got YouTube and, RedX expired. Also, Vulcan 7 has a Take 52 also from some people that are, pretty good there. So there's a lot. I mean, like you said, if you Google it, you'd be surprised what you find. But those are some resources that I'm using and recently used.
Thomas, thanks, man.
I appreciate Denny. I love the thing, bring it down to dollars. I'm going to share that. That's something I have not done before, and I thought that was valuable. Instead of talking percentages, because percentages really, I'm thinking about all the times I've missed just by talking percentages, and it's bring it down to dollars, bring it down to, what's really their motivation and savings with the dollars. What are they thinking? So that was really important for me. So I want to thank you for that. That was one gold nugget that was definitely worth being on the call for.
Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate you being
And
on.
I didn't know how to raise my hand. I had to Google it to find out how to raise my hand, and now I know how to raise my hand in the chat because there's no little box that said, hey, raise your hand here, like click here. So, so dummy that I am, and so I would have liked to have got on the call, but next week I'll definitely try and hit it up.
Yes. Thanks. Thank you guys for being on.
Thanks, Denny. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Right.